Make sure y'all go ahead and give her a sub, man. I think she deserves a sub, and at the very least. Also, let's can we get into that next story of why you believe men shouldn't date single mothers and commit their lives to single mothers. I agree with you, by the way. So I do want you to go ahead and tell that next story.
Okay, so the next, what we need to give him a name, right? Let's call him Bob.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's kind of silly, but nah, that's kind of silly. Let's not give him Bob. Give him a name. You give him a name. I don't know. Bob is kind of silly.
Oh, you can give him call him Chris.
Chris. Okay, so Chris. We call him Chris, and like I said, Chris wanted me to share this story with you all because of what he's going through. What happened with him was Chris. He ended up he had a high school sweetheart. And, they were together. She, went off and she had a daughter by another man. But Chris decided, for whatever reason, later on, that he would take her on as a wife, okay, with that daughter. And so after they had that daughter, they ended up having 4 more children, 2 daughters and then a set of twins, a boy and a girl. Chris's wife, like I said before, does not respect him. I've heard it myself. She verbally abuses him in front of the children. She has cursed him out, called him. I'm very careful with my language. She's called him a bitch. Everything in the book. She's put hands on him. Here's the problem. Because of that beta male mentality, after she's put his hands on him, a lot of what you men do, he had the opportunity to call the police and put her in jail. But because you guys unfortunately sent to us, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't press charges. So a lot of you men out there, I know somebody's hearing me right now, when your woman puts hands on you, y'all don't hardly ever want to press charges because you don't want your woman in jail. That's a bad thing, because what you just did, you taught your woman that she can put her hands on you and you're not going to do a doggone thing about it. Right. And so because of that, his woman is completely out of control. This man is now this man I'm talking about, this is an engineer. Remember I told you that we have he's one of the few black engineers in this country. He provides fully for his family, her daughter from another man, plus his children. He does all of these things. This woman does not clean the house. She doesn't cook, doesn't clean, doesn't do anything. She puts her hands on him. And this is what I'm saying. My story is not alone. I know many men that are going through this. You're living with a woman. She doesn't want to clean up. She doesn't want to do her role. She doesn't want to submit, and you're living like this. I know they're out there. I know you guys are out there. You're dealing with this.
And Nyla, women don't like to understand it, and I mean, they don't like to understand the fact that they are truly alive because at the mercy of men. And absolutely. I know that's taboo to say. I know we don't like to talk about that. But if we're completely honest, and men, we have a social contract amongst each other. I understand that if I go into a bar and I get loud with the man, it can get physical. So with the exception of a few knuckleheads or a few people that have friends around them so they get extra brave, we tend to not do that because we have that respect, right? But a lot of times you see women, you go into the bar, you see a woman splashing a drink in a man's face, hitting on him, this and that, and the man doesn't even know how to respond because
yes. And so that's another thing I really want to put out there. Oh man, my heart really goes out to you men, because you men think it's honorable when you let a man, like you said, throw the drink in your face, hit you, punch you, scratch you, do all these things, and you just don't do anything. What needs to happen, what I pray happens, you need to start holding these women accountable. When a woman puts her hands on you, you call the authorities, and when you call the authorities, you let her sit in that cell, because women are not being held accountable. That's the problem. So that's why you have so many women that are out here out of control, because y'all just aren't doing, well, I don't want my woman to be up in jail. I don't want her to do this. I don't want her to do that. Stop. Hold her accountable. You men do not deserve abuse. The fact of the matter is, a woman knows when she puts her hands on you, 9.999 times out of 10, y'all men can put some serious damage on a woman. With a woman's mind, we know that you're not going to do nothing. So that's why We strike out.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And that's why I have a specific distaste for women who think that they can fight men. And I'm like, do you
Oh
understand you
man.
are alive at the mercy? At the mercy that a man, when you act up like that, that a man doesn't just lash out. Because we have a social contract as men. We understand that if we do that, we are the ones that are responsible because we are always held accountable.
Yes.
Now, regardless, but people like to say, oh, black men haven't been held accountable. This is not true. We have men have always been held accountable for the things we do. A lot of times women get that leeway and they start thinking it's sweet, and man, it's sad to see that. And it's only because they understand that there's protection in place for them. They understand that they can do it because there's not much a man can do back to them. That's the only reason they act that way. If men at large were just, if every man that got hit by a woman hit them back, that wouldn't be a thing. I guarantee it.
We have sunk into such a low depth that I have seen, like on social media, not my own personal life, but I have seen women threaten men. Hit me, hit me, hit me. Come on, hit me. And here, we're going to go back to where we first started. We're going to go full circle. Remember, we talked about the lies and deceit in a woman's mind. In a woman's mind, she really believes that I can fight this man. She thinks that, because the reality of it is, you can't fight him. You're going to call the police. You know what I mean? You're going to cry. You're going to do all these things. But in a woman's warped, confused, childlike mind, she thinks that she can fight this 6 foot tall, muscle bound man. That's why a woman needs to be kept in strict submission to male authority. Because if we're not, this is what we see. We see 5 foot, 3 inch, 110 pound soaking wet woman trying to go up against a 6 foot tall, muscle bound man and thinking she can really beat him, because that is how sick and warped and confused a woman's mind is. We need to stop this.
This is probably the best live I've ever done. You really blessed us, because this message from a woman is so good to hear. It's refreshing, truly, because you understand a lot of these things that women just seem to not get, and maybe it's because they
not
think
going to get it. They're not. This is what I'm trying to really just put out there. A woman is not going to. I know y'all want us to get it. Here's the thing. God bless you, man. Y'all so want women to be logical, don't you? You guys want to
be nice.
You guys want to present the facts, the evidence, the data, and you want to show women the facts, and you want us to understand. It's not going to happen. What you need to do is you need to take control over a woman the same way that you do a child. And someone's going to say, because of the things I said about my mother, well, she's just doing that because she's bitter. But remember what I told you before. What do I do for a living? I work with women and women only. And so the only way I'm able to keep control in my job, my female patients, all I deal with is 100% female patients. And the only way I'm able to get my job done peacefully is I take control from the minute I see them. I take control over them. I shut them down. I don't let them talk. I take control. That way I can do my job. This is how I know so much about what I know, because I've dealt with women for so long. They have to be controlled like children. I don't want to say like dogs, because people don't want to, hear that. So I'll just say children. They have to be kept under control. And let me tell you this, and I promise you, they're happier for it. Women are happier,
and I'm happy you just said that, because so many times, like, women will say they want this guy that allows them to do this and this and that.
They don't know any better.
What they do, they keep pushing the envelope until they step on you. Once they find out they can step on you, it's over for you. You're dead. Women do not want what they say they want a lot of the times in a man. They don't want these guys until you're about like 30, 35, and you slow down a little bit. You understand what's actually important in a man. That's kind of when you start going, I want a guy that can provide for me, protect, and you start to understand that a little bit more. But early on, these women be saying they want this kind of guy, and then they go and have sex and get pregnant by the very opposite of what they say they want. And it's because they're happy. Women seem, and I'm not a woman, so you've said it yourself, but it appears to be that women are truly happier when a man is the dominant one in the relationship, when a man gets to make the final decisions in the relationship. That doesn't mean you gotta be a dictator. That don't mean you don't
No,
listen to
no,
what
no,
the
no,
woman
no,
have
no,
to
no.
say. Because my wife in particular, let's just give an example here. I had a couple. Everybody drink. I had a couple, and I didn't have too many. I never get to the point where I'm falling. I never get bad, but I heard a conversation and I felt like I wanted to jump on the live. My wife told me don't do that. Okay, because it's just not a good decision. Me hearing her and hearing her, although I get the final say of what goes on in our relationship or what happens, I respect her for her, her opinions and what she got to say. So a lot of times when we say a man is the final, he's the head and he's gonna lead the conversation, women hear that and they say that means I got to be a maid, I got to be a slave, this and this and that. No,
No.
that's not what it means at all. Your opinion is valued, but since men think more on logic, he's going to be more likely to get you the results that you want in your
Absolutely.
life.
And I will compare this to a major company, and I won't say where I work, but I work for a major company, a Fortune 500 company. And so the way it works is our company has a CEO, we have a COO, a CFO, we have all these things. But you know what we do? We have meetings. And so sometimes we have meetings with the lower people, and they allow us to express our desires and how we want the company to go. And our CEO, he listens to that and he takes it into consideration. And it's the same way when you're running a household. At the end of the day, the man is the CEO. When as a woman, we give our input, and it works that way in my household. I give my husband input and he respects my opinion and he takes it in consideration. But at the end of the day, he is the final say so. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying? That's just how it goes. And what unfortunately what women don't understand, do you know how much weight that takes off of our shoulders?
Right. And that's one of the
So
things that women didn't understand. They said that,
right.
and I mean, it's true. Some of them do, but they said they wanted this and they said they wanted that. But when they were given the responsibility, you
We
found out
can't
that they actually want to
handle
blame everybody for their bad decisions.
it.
And the
Right.
truth of the matter is this: it's hard to be in control of your life. And that's why a lot of people want to hear the rhetoric that black people can't help themselves and this is that. Because when you realize you have the ability to help yourself, you realize you have to look in the mirror and you're responsible
Yes.
for where you are in your
Yep.
life. People don't want that because you
No.
have to then take control of your life. It's easy to be told what to do all day. And that's why a lot of people are comfortable and I mean, this goes another, but a lot of people get very, very comfortable and just regular 9 to 5s, and they don't want to go out and do their own thing sometimes because it's easier to just have somebody tell you what to do than it is to make your own decisions and have to deal with the consequences of those decisions. Like that's just the facts of it.
And the thing about it is, I don't want to put down, a 9 to 5 person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't want to put that down. But here's the thing, like you're saying, now this goes, beyond race, but a lot of people, it's very easy to have someone else step in and have control over your life. For black people in particular, unfortunately, that's why we have these debates about reparations, these things, because we like the idea of the government coming in and helping us and doing this for us. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna say this, I don't want no reparations. I don't want that.
no.
I have control of my own life. I'm gonna say this is going on into politics, but we'll go there and we'll leave. We've all been to the DMV, right? Sorry, that's my dog. If you heard that shaking. Does anybody like going to the DMV? Who is like, oh yay, I'm going to the DMV?
Right.
The DMV is a government-ran organization, right? But yet somehow we want the government to come in and control our lives. We want the government to control our health care. So every time you go to the doctor, it's going to be like going to the DMV. You don't want the government in control of your life. And so sometimes I think that black people in general, we're afraid to take control of our own lives. We like the idea of government handouts, government helping us. I'm all about no. I want to control my own life, but we need to stop being afraid to control our own lives. It's kind of
Bingo.
like when slavery first ended, you had two different types of slaves, right?
Bingo. Oh,
You
go
had,
talk
okay,
to him.
so slavery ended. You have some now you have like the ones like Harriet Tubman, the ones she led. They were like, I am not trying to be a slave. I want to get up out of here. I want to go up north and I want freedom. I want autonomy. I want to do my thing. But you have some slaves that didn't want to leave the plantation. And what was that saying? I don't remember who said this, but I think they said that she said, I don't know if it's true or not, that she could have freed so many more slaves if they knew that they were enslaved.
Right.
And that's the thing. Some people are not trying to leave the plantation. They like the idea of masses God, I'm losing my words. The master's covering his
Just
what
I see. I know exactly where
I
I
can't
get
believe
where
what
you're
I'm
going.
saying.
They like for him to have the authority because it makes it
Yes,
easier.
they liked his covering. They like what he can do. But that the real person, they were like, I don't want masses. You know what I mean? Authority over. I want to live my own life. I
Right.
want to be free. So I was like, give me liberty or give me death. I want
And
to go up north. And so they
right.
followed her, and they got up north because they wanted freedom. But there's so many blacks right now that are still on that plantation. They still looking for reparations. They still looking for a handout. There's still
And
a lot of
and
black men out here right now. Yeah. Okay.
this is full circle to allowing women to lead
Yes.
your culture. That is a very
Yes.
feminine mindset. You don't
Very.
understand that when people give you things, they're going to control what happens in your life. You
Yes.
think the government is going to give you health care and all these
Man.
this check every
Man.
month, and that's socialism.
Man.
Once they do that, they're going to
Yes.
then control what you can do. Now you can't go to McDonald's and have that burger you want.
No, you
All right,
can't.
because
You
now
can't.
it's on the whole government's health care. Now
And
they control what you eat,
and
and so it's like if people just don't get this concept, and it's very very feminine and that's my biggest problem with the Democratic Party. Me personally is because a lot of a lot of what it's based behind now is who's mostly oppressed and how can we give them free things from the government.
We
And
are
for me,
in
I don't
the
think that that's what
oppression
black people need
Olympics
right
right
now. Just me
now.
personally, just that's right now.
We
But
are in the oppression Olympics. Who can be more oppressed? Who can be the most victim? And listen, this all goes. Listen, history repeats itself. Everything comes full circle. It goes back to that old proverb that you heard: you give a man a fish, or you teach him to fish, right? If you give a man a fish, you feed him for that one day. If you teach him to fish, he can feed himself for a
right.
lifetime. No one comes into this life entitled to anything. And so again, this is going to go back to that woman's mindset, a very entitled mindset. Going back again to that women and children first. I'm a woman, I'm entitled. No, you're not. Nobody owes you. You come into this earth not entitled. Okay? You don't deserve anything.